Are you looking to understand the health of your home? Maybe you've had air testing done in your house because you suspect a problem, but all the air tests show up fine. Or maybe you're even looking to have some testing done, but all you see on the internet and on social media is how useless air samples are. Well, here's an air pump right here. Let me explain further.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mold Show YouTube channel. Today we're talking about a topic that's super important if you're curious about indoor air quality, and that's mold air sampling. So what is it? How does it work? And should you have it done if you're thinking about having a mold inspection or air quality testing done? Stick around, let's break it down. All right, let's start with the basics. Mold air sampling is a process where we set a air pump up on a tripod, very similar to what you saw in the first clip. We set it up in a room and we check for any mold spores that could be floating around. It's a very popular method in our industry, especially if there's suspicions that it may be in the air. That air pump pulls in air at a certain flow rate into a cassette that's placed on top of the pump. That cassette is designed to trap any particles that are floating around, including mold. The whole process takes, say, 5 to 10 minutes with the pump running the entire time to catch as many particles as possible. We then send that cassette to a lab where it's examined under a microscope. The lab then analyzes it and they send us the results in a lab report. And here's the important part and one of the main reasons for this video. These samples are just a snapshot in time. The reason why air samples get a bad rap is because they are just a snapshot in time of those 5 to 10 minutes that we happen to be collecting the air sample. You see, air samples can be a great tool, but they do have their limitations, just like any other types of sampling. The truth of the matter is conditions within the indoor environment are constantly changing and can fluctuate depending on things like moisture levels, humidity, air movement, thanks to our ventilation systems, and even someone just walking in and out of a room can disturb mold spores. So while I would say we disagree with the notion that they are completely useless, I would say that it makes it very difficult to rely on just air samples alone. Think of it like taking a quick photo. If you took a photo of the sky, it might be clear 1 minute, and then a few minutes later it could be cloudy. You can even think of it like leaves blowing through the air. Those leaves aren't always going to be in the air. They will eventually settle on the ground and not be blowing around anymore. The same thing happens with mold spores. The air and whether or not they're floating around in the air, those conditions are constantly changing. So why is air sampling so popular? Well, when combined with other types of testing like surface sampling and wall cavity sampling, it can give us very valuable clues as to the condition of your indoor air quality. But again, air samples alone shouldn't be the only piece of the puzzle that we're looking at. So if there's a second main point we want to drive home here, it's that air sampling should be seen as just a piece of the puzzle. It's useful, but it's not always conclusive on its own. If no mold spores show up in an air sample, doesn't necessarily mean there's no mold. It could just mean that there weren't any mold spores aerosolized during that time that we were collecting the sample. So if you're dealing with unexplained health symptoms or just want to have a better idea about the air quality in your home, air sampling can be a helpful tool, but it's always to be used with other types of sampling methodologies to get the full picture. Well, if you found this video helpful, which I hope you did, feel free to hit that subscribe button for us. Also, don't forget to tune in to the Mold Show podcast where we talk about all things mold. Thanks, and see you next time.